Hey, second grade art friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. This week we got a little bit of painting going on. So you should have a container of white paint, black, red, and yellow. And we're going to talk about using that to mix our skin color. And I also sent home for you guys this week two half sheets of paper and these little shapes, okay? And one says left and one says right. And what we're going to do is, these are actually going to be part of your project where these are going to be, this is like your arm, and these are your hands that are going to be holding your little square paper that you're making that tells all about yourself. So what we're going to do is, if you want to put each one to get started, what we'll do is we're going to take one of the half sheets of paper. We're going to need a pencil, and we're going to need these two templates. So if you want to go ahead and grab that, and then we'll get started. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pencil, and I'm going to trace around the outside of this shape here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this down, and then I'm also going to trace around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So it should look like this. All right? And then on the second one, I'm going to put it next to it. Same thing, I'm going to trace around the outside. Then I'm going to fold this one down. And same thing, I'm going to go around 1, 2, 3 up there. Okay. And I was able to get around there like that. Okay. Now you might say, well, what are we going to use those for? So these are going to, again, these are our arms and this is our hand. So we're also going to be painting these in addition to when we paint our faces. So you want to go, you want to grab your face, and then what you can do is you also want to grab, I gave you a popsicle stick, so you want to have that. You want to have your paints, and you also want to have a paintbrush, okay? So if you want to grab those things, and maybe also just a paper towel, okay? Then we'll get into painting. All right, guys. So if you listen to the story, The Colors of Us, the little girl's mom talks about using these colors to mix different colors, the different colors of all of our different skin colors, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the lid off of your white, all right? And then we're going to take the lids off of our black. Move this up a little bit out of the way. So there's my black. I'm going to take the lid off my yellow, and I'm going to take the lid off my red. Okay. So I got those there, and I have my popsicle stick. Okay. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at my skin color. And my skin color, it has some red in it. But believe it or not, it also has some yellow in it, and probably some of the black to give it a little bit of a brown tint. But no matter what your skin color is, what I want you to do is we're going to do this gradually, step by step. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take your popsicle stick, you're going to dip it into the red, and you're going to have some paint on the end, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take it and you're going to stir it into this whole big glob of white. And you're going to mix it really, really well, so it's going to take a few minutes. And if you're noticing, now I have the color pink. Okay, it's very light pink. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to wipe the end of my popsicle stick off. Then I'm going to dip it into the yellow. So same thing, I got some yellow here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix that into the pink. And I want you to see if you notice a difference. What happens to the pink? Not a lot happens, but the color gets a little bit more peachy, and you might not be able to see it because of the way the light is here on my video, but it's a little bit peachier, okay? And what you can do is you might want to, depending on your skin color, if we dip the yellow in one more time. Now, you may be wondering, why are we doing this little by little by little? Well, it's so much easier to add paint, but once we, little by little, but once we add it, we can't take it away. So it's better to say, oh, I need a little bit more than, oops, I can't take this out, right? So I'm kind of looking to see, and it's still pretty light. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my popsicle stick, I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm not going to stick it all the way in. I just stuck, because my skin isn't super dark, I just put a little bit of black on the end here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix that in. And I want you to notice what happens. Okay. It takes away some of the rosiness, the brightness. Okay. And then what you can do is you can start the process again. So if you don't think it's dark enough, you're going to wipe off your popsicle stick. Okay. Do a little dip. Mix it in. And these are such little incremental changes. It's doing something, but it's not too drastic that to the point where you're like, oh no, it's too red or too yellow or too dark. Okay. So the red brightened it up just a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it another dash of yellow. And I actually might give it 2 dashes of yellow. Because really what's happening is you guys know that if we mix red and yellow together, we get what color? You guessed it, we get orange, right? So we're kind of mixing like a light orange, but our skin isn't orange. Our skin is more, our skin can be peach, our skin can be caramel, our skin can be more like a brownie. So as we gradually add, we're going to get it a little bit darker and darker, okay? So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is about, I'm going to do one more pink and one more, or one more red and one more yellow. I'm going to do one more dip of red. Mix it around. The red makes it rosier and redder. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more yellow. And I think that's about my skin color. So I'm going to start to paint my face. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to pour some of this paint onto the lid here because I'm going to keep going because, as you know, many of us have skin that is darker than this, right? So I still have this color. So if your skin is darker, then what we're going to do is I'm going to do another dip into the black, okay? So it's just a little dip, and then I'm going to mix that into this paint here. And you'll notice it's getting a little bit darker, but I think I'm going to give it another dip. Now it's starting to get a little darker. But I think I want to put some oomph behind it. It needs a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to go dip into the red. Now it's a little bit more rosy. But then I'm going to give it a dip into the yellow. Oops. And I actually might give it one more dip into the yellow. Okay? And now if you notice, I'm going to show you. This was the one that I took out, and then this is the one that I'm mixing right now. And you can see it's a little bit darker. So you would just keep going, adding, then you would go and do your black. Then you would go back and do your red and your yellow until it gets to the color that you want. Once you have mixed the color of your skin, what I want you to do is we're going to grab our self-portraits. And the first thing that we're going to do is that we are going to grab a colored pencil. So I'm going to grab a black colored pencil here in my stuff. Okay. You want to make sure it's nice and sharp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline some of my facial features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline my eye. And there's my eyelid. Okay. And I'm going to color in the pupil. I'm going to leave like a little reflection in my eye. And then I'm going to outline this eye. I'm going to outline my eyelid. Oops. You know what? I didn't really want to outline that. It's okay. So you can, if you want to, you can outline your iris, but you don't have to, because then what's going to happen is our iris is the color of our eyes, right? And some of us have blue, brown, hazel, greenish, so it just depends. Mrs. Herbay has kind of brownish eyes, but they have a little bit of green in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of color in my colored pencil. Okay. And if there's a little bit of green in there. Okay. And also my eyelashes would be brown, right? I'm not going to put the bottom ones on, and I'll tell you, you'll see why in a minute. And then I'm also going to do my eyebrows. So my eyebrows are kind of a brown color. So I'm going to go ahead and color those in. And I'm going to outline my nose. Right? And I'm going to outline my lips. outline my neck, my ears, and then I'm just going to outline the bottom part of my face right here. So it start from my ear and come around and just end up right where my ear is, like that. Okay, I'm not going to outline the top part of my head. And that's all the color that we're going to add for right now. Okay, so then what's going to happen is we're going to grab our handy dandy paint. Okay, mine's off on this little lid, but yours would be in your cup. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start to paint our the details of our face. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to be kind of careful. We're going to try to stay in the lines. If you happen to paint over your colored pencil, it's okay, because we can go back over it. Like here, I'll do that right here just so you can kind of see how it sort of shows up anyways. So that's all right. So I'm going to just take my time, and when I dip my paint in the brush, I'm not getting a lot of paint. I'm just doing, I don't know if you guys remember from kindergarten, I don't think we even painted last year because of COVID, but we just dip the tip of the brush in like a ballerina, and she's on her tippy toes, and we're painting around. And the other cool thing that we can do with this is we can paint our lips, because our lips are also part of our skin color, and then we can go back and add with colored pencil a little bit more color to them. So I'm just kind of going over filling in the lips a little bit with the paint color. Right. And then I'm just going to go around my face. And then when I get up to my eyes, I'm going to try to be careful and just paint around. And then I'm also going to be careful. Now I already colored in my eyelashes. I'm going to paint my eyelid a little bit. So I might have to go back over my eyelashes, but that's okay. So I got that. And then I'm going to go up to where my hairline is. So like, and I can even go, I'm going to even go up above it a little bit more, because we're going to be coloring our hair, and so it's okay. And so here's kind of still where my hairline is. And then I'll finish painting my cheeks. I'm also going to paint my ears. Go around my eyebrow. This is taking me more than just a couple minutes, because I'm taking my time and I'm not using a lot of paint on my brush, but I am dipping quite a bit. So, whoops. And if you happen to go off the line, you can just kind of grab it with your finger a little bit. And I'm making sure to spread out my paint. it's a little bit splotchy, after it dries, you could go back and add a second coat if you really want to. And I'm just going to be really careful as I go around my eye. And then I'm just going to paint in between my... Okay. And last but not least, I have to get my ear. Okay. So now you can see I have my whole face painted in. Okay. And again, like I said, if you see any areas, you can kind of smooth them over with your paint. Okay. And then once you are done with this part, then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our arms and our fingers, okay? And then we're also going to paint these. And we don't have to be quite as neat when we paint these because we're going to be cutting them out. So if you go outside of the lines, it's okay because we're going to cut these out. So again, I'm just doing my ballerina, back and forth, no bump scoots. Just using the tip of the brush. So there's one. Then I'm going to paint the second one. All right, there we go. Then I'm going to put this to dry, and then I'm just going to go back and check out my face a little bit, and I can kind of see right where my nose is, it's really light. And so I'm just going to go back and kind of fill that in there. So anywhere where you see like it might look a little splotchy, you can just kind of touch it up a little bit. Okay, and then what you can do is you have one more, this is kind of fun. So you have one more extra piece of paper. And what you can do is I wanted you just kind of experiment with mixing different skin tones. So that was the one that I was using, but I'm going to wipe off my brush. And then remember how I was adding more brown and orange and red. So now I have sort of this color here, which is kind of cool, right? And then what I can do is, with the paint that's left, I want to try to see if I can get it even a darker skin tone. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to take a dip in I'm going to get my paints back over here to show you. I'm going to take a dip in my red. I'm going to mix it in. And then I'm going to wipe off my stick. I'm going to take a dip in the yellow. actually might take 2 dips in the yellow. And then I'm going to take a dip in the black. It's getting darker. And if it's only a little bit darker and you want it darker still, then let's take another little dip. Not too much though, because black is a powerful mixer. So it's getting darker still, but I think I'm going to and some more yellow. And let's see where we are now. So I'm going to grab my brush. Ooh, that's nice. So it's a little bit darker brown. See that? That's a really pretty skin tone. Okay. And then I might keep going. So then I'm going to wipe my brush off. And I'm going to mix up my it's really kind of red, but I'm going to do another. And to balance that out, I'm going to do some yellow. And do a little bit more yellow. And then I'm going to do some black. It's getting a little darker. And I'm going to do another thing of black. And it's starting to look a little darker. I might just do one more black just to see if I can get it even darker. So let's see what that looks like next to our other one. It's definitely a little bit darker, but it's not so much darker. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit bigger of a scoop. I want to try to mix a really nice, dark, beautiful brown. So I just need more black. And then we're going to brighten it up with some red. Some more red. And then we need yellow. And let's see where we are now. Oh, I got it even darker still. So just have fun with this. You can kind of see how many different skin tones you can make until you run out of paint. I'm gonna put the rest of this black in here. Another thing you could do too is, if it's not dark enough, I'm gonna scoop just a little bit of this in here with the black to dilute it, and now it's really pretty dark. But it doesn't, it still needs, so you can see it's pretty dark. But what I want to do is I want to add, I'm going to mix that up a little bit. I'm going to put a little more of this lighter in here. And then I'm going to add some more red. A little more red. And a touch of yellow. And then I'm going to grab my paintbrush. And there's a really nice dark brown. Okay. So I hope you guys have fun with this. And you can just fill this whole paper with all kinds of different skin tones, and you can experiment. And I'm going to use a little bit of this. And as you get down to having not so much paint, you can kind of see, you can kind of experiment and see what the colors do. And how they change. All right, guys. So I hope you have fun, and you can end up, you can just throw away the paint containers when you're done with them. If you are really dying to send them back, you can. Just put the lids on, and then Mrs. Herbay, I'll wash them out, and I'll use them again. But you can also feel free to throw them away if you need to. Okay? And then we're going to let our stuff dry. And then next week we're going to talk about how we're going to put all of this fun stuff together. All right? So I hope you guys have a great week, and I can't wait to see your paintings on Thursday.